Hello everyone. I think I'm gonna start. First, I want to introduce myself a little bit more. I'm Molly, and Chinese name is Wang Mo, and I'm a mother of two kids. And that's the reason I want to join this education like a revolution here, because I'm kind of very worried for my kids the future study. I worried I cannot send them to any kind of the schools right now, because they all have different kind of problems there. I'm gonna introduce more about that. So my background is actually automotive engineering. I studied mechanical engineer for 4 years at Tsinghua. Uh, and then after that, I joined the program at Royal College of Art at London for innovation design engineering. So for those two study backgrounds, I learned engineering and design, and also gets a lot of like hands-on experience, which I never had before. For the whole study of my like from primary school until high school, no one allowed to talk during the class, and don't talk about like making something during the class. So I was very left behind when I was at the Royal College of Arts. At the making part, we need to make every idea into real stuff when we study, and I never ever made anything before. And that's the reason I found like by making actually I learn more and I learn quicker than the normal kind of class. And we discuss aloud and we fight for each other for a result. We research into questions we interested about. So then that's got me the inspiration that how can we change the education system of China from this like boring and nearly dying kind of way into this like more natural and more interested way. So that's the beginning of my career to be to build an education company called Creatica. So while I doing critical, I actually found a lot of problem of the China's education system. I draw some of the very rough pictures here. Sorry for that. I'm gonna make that more like nicely later. Uh, just bear with my drawings. So you can see from this picture, it actually shows different kind of schools and how kids can go past their years from primary school until college in different kind of school. The first one is the international schools in China. They're only for very few people, and the charge kids doesn't have a lot of like a study pressure, but they have a lot of like other activity pressure. So they need to join like a tech club, they need to join sports club, art club. They need to be very colorful. That's not something the kids want. It is something they must to have to guarantee them can enter like a very good universities abroad. So for this group of kids, the problem right now is not about like the way of teaching or the way of learning. I think the most important thing here is that they have too many choice, and all of the companies providing services for this group is adding more choice for them. So all of the choice really occupied all of their free time. So this case even seems to have more free time is actually have no free time at all. All of their free time is occupied with different kind of activities being selected by their parents. And for the second part of the schools is the public schools in China. You can see like the second part from the pictures where have a lot of circles and all go to like a Tsinghua. That's for example the best universities in China. They are all public schools from big cities or small cities, but they seem to be good schools and decent schools. So their only goal is get into universities. So all of the studies for their students is for the exam. So all of the things they learn is for selecting people, not to like enrichment the students. But when we're looking at the numbers, not all of the kids can get into universities, and even the one get into universities, they don't have their goal of why they need to study and why they need to go to the university. So many of them get lost during this process, and more of them get lost when they actually enter the universities. And they spend their time on TVs, on movies, on games in their college because there's no goals at all at their life there. And for the third part of the China is that there are two kind of schools I joined there. One is called a migrant kids. So the kids coming from the countryside and study with their parents inside the city. And then there's many of more kids. They stay in the countryside. They don't have many resources to get into the universities, and it's getting harder and harder because the test system is changing from those very basic knowledge to a more a general knowledge. For those general knowledge, you need to experience more. That's not something the countryside kids can experience. So in the end, those migrant kids and the countryside school kids, they drop the school from middle school. Many of them just go to vocational schools, and many of them just don't go to any kind of school. They stay at home, go farm like their parents, or generally they do nothing. So that's the very unstable part of China, which worries a lot of people because those people never been well educated. Their knowledge level is actually lower than the primary school students in the city. Some of them have very lacking the basic knowledge of how to survive in the society. And secondly, from this picture, I want to say is that from the individual side of the thing, for the kids, the left side, they don't know the reason why they need to study, and they don't have interest of life, and they don't have free times, and have no knowledge of the future. Many of the kids just told me things will come very naturally when they grow old. They will find a nice job. They will buy their house and buy their cars naturally. They just come. They don't know the relationship between the studying now and the career in the future, and they don't want to know about that. And when we introduce more classes to them, sometimes they just refuse. They say yeah, I don't need that. I'm not interested about that. This is not only for the public school students, that's also for the countryside students and the migrant kids. When we're talking about lacking of resources, doesn't mean they're poor. They actually living in a not bad situation. They just don't have people to teach them the right thing, and they don't know about the knowledge we think is necessary to be known. So they just think everything will come very natural in the end. But the truth is like more than half of them cannot enter the high school because of their scores or because of other qualification things. And that only comes when they facing the thing, not before. And from the right hand, at the same time, they are facing a lot of pressures. Those pressures is from school. The school want them to learn math, to learn physics, to learn English, biology, chemistry, all of the subjects has very linked to their life. And then their parents want them to. And from the parents and all the other kids, this one is learning this, that one is learning that. So they got a lot of pressures from them. And also the society saying like, you need to be good at this, you need to be good at that. But they all giving the kids like a very, very general kind of concept and the big words. They only listen to the words and don't know exactly what that means. So they don't know how to act or react from those words. And all of the pressures make them more uncertain about their lives. And also like the when school design the curriculum, it is based on how to select different kids. So how to let the good kids come out and be selected. It's not based on how to raise any kids from the same level to another level. So whenever a kid fall behind, they will never catch up. And that's a very, very serious problem I'm facing now with this migrant school. The good kids, they can catch up their study for their ninth grade. But the worst one, the kids, they even don't know like the basic knowledge of the grade 7. So when they are in the same classroom, it is impossible to teach them. And also like we are a company as Critica, and when we hiring people, we're facing a lot of problem. Like first, we don't know where to get the people we want. Kind of hard to find where are they. And second is like when we're facing one like an individual, we only can know like what kind of degree they get or what kind of certificate they have. It's very hard to tell if they have the skills we need. So the education system is actually making a lot of subjects together to be a package and then send it the message to the company saying like okay, these kids have enough of knowledge of all, but the company actually don't need all of the knowledge. They just need like a certain type of knowledge. So I just for this I just want to generally say like what I have found for the education system, how that don't work, and what I'm trying now is like for Critica, we were trying to like make something small from the classes. So we want to introduce more like a hands-on experience class to let the kids to at least be happy during the class. So we make those like a modular project learning process. That's a way that they can experience different kind of projects during this process, based on have they got the knowledge or what kind of the making they have, or they need to know about the process, and then they need to create a business in the end. So we provide those kind of classes to schools. So that's how the business is running now. So how we work with schools. And furthermore, what we want to do is that we want to combine with the hands-on experience with the subject knowledge. So we mapping out all of the knowledge they need to get during their whole school years. And we cut it into 3 parts. The first part is word common sense knowledge. That means every kids need to know about this knowledge to have a general idea what our world is like. And the second part, I call that like enrollment in enhancement knowledge. That part is only for those kids want to get into the next level of study. Like for example, if they want to go to the university, they need to take the Gaokao exam. So they need to learn certain knowledge to pass that exam. So that is not something they necessary to know if they don't want to take the exam. And the third part is that if they especially interested about anything, they can study something in a very, very narrow area for those special skills. Like for example, if they are interested about programming, they can like a deep learning into programming by some help or by themselves. So we hope this kind of system can solve the problem about motivation. As this picture you can see like at the very, very beginning, we will ask them the question is about like what the future will be like, or what kind of life do you want to live in the future. And then like in the middle over the bubbles is actually those hands-on experience they're gonna have. Some of them will relate it to their like subjects or their academic study, or some of them just being like having fun, or about like a movie making, or about like a 3D printing, or about like a design thinking. And then during this process, they need to know like what kind of thing they like or they don't like. So as the arrows pointed down and all flows into the big bubble in the end, we hope in someday when they have enough experience, they can figure out those big questions by themselves. They will know like I like this and I want to do this in my future, instead of someone telling them you need to do this. So what we're trying to do is for those little bubbles, we want every class to have more fun, to be more interested for the kids, so they can change their point of view for these subjects. And right now, like I'm working with one of my friends. She is NGO founder, but right now she works at a migrant school, which all of the kids and their parents is migrant from other cities and moved to Beijing for this kind of like a very low income job. So the school is a kind of like a private school, but don't have lessons. So all of the kids they need to go back home or they go find their own ways after graduate from the middle school. Right now we have 10 kids from ninth grades. They have no teachers and the school doesn't have any plans for them. They kind of like abandon the students for the school. So the school just letting us do whatever we want with their like half of their times. So we have a chance to do something we have planned a long time before. So for those half of the school time, we introduce three kind of classes for them. One is science, and one is reading. It's about like the language, and the third is just to be happy. This is the first time me and Janice has been there for a PE class. So the whole school they don't have a PE teacher. So whoever have time can volunteer there to be a teacher. They will have a PE class. Otherwise, they will be left inside the classroom to do their homeworks. And this is the ninth grade kids and their teacher. Her name is Ouyang. You can see the tables. The table is actually for kindergarten kids, and the school don't have a classroom for them, so they just changed the old kindergarten into a classroom for them. So all of the ninth grade kids is actually like a banding inside those tables. And because like most of them were being so left behind from their academic level of the study, and also don't know what will happen in the end of the semester when they graduate. So I giving them a class about what do you think about your future life, just like 2 weeks ago. And this is .com, x69.com. It is the biggest information platform from China. You can look everything on that. You can search for jobs, search for houses, search for like a second-hand car or anything you can imagine you need from a city. So I asked the students to find a job on this platform. I helped them to organize themselves when they're looking at all of the job titles and to figure out which part is the important information and which part they need to be careful about. So this is the information page from this website, and I just circled that whatever they need to take care of. For example, like the salaries and the working hours, and is there any dangers about this job? And after they find their jobs, they need to fill up this chart to see what the job's name is, where it is, and how long is the working hour and the salaries and what other qualifications they need. And if you want to take this job, what kind of efforts you need to make. You can see this is the chart the students fill up in the end, and some of them are very very serious about that. They're taking the notes very very carefully, just like they're gonna take the job. And for some of them, it's not that serious. They think, yeah, just be happy. It's okay. I can do whatever. Just take me. I doesn't care what the salary is or where it is. And when they filling out those a qualification side of the job, many of them just feel out that they doesn't need any kind of qualification, while the job is actually need. So they kind of naturally blocking those informations they are lacking of, and they think maybe when times come will just go naturally, they will just get them. So for those jobs has very high salaries, the kids have no doubt to just feel that in saying yeah, that's okay, I can do that. But it actually requires certain qualifications or skills, which of course they don't have as middle school students, but they cannot read it or they cannot understand what the text is about. And after that, we searching for houses together. We compare that how much they need to pay if they want to buy a house, and then how much they need to pay each month if they rent a house. And then would the square meters will affect that, or the locations will affect that. And then we also like buying cars together and calculate how much they gonna cost for each month if they want to live in a proper life. So in the end, we compare the expenses with the income, and of course, like most of them spend more money than they can earn, and then they got so panicked, saying like, "What should I do? What should I do?" So after this class, I gave them a task to write down what their thoughts about their lives in the future, and they having a more realistic goal of their lives, and thinking about whether they should taking the study more seriously to get a certain degree, or they need to have their own career at a certain age. And if they want to start their own company, what kind of skills they need, those kind of things, taking that very, very seriously. And also thinking about maybe lower their ambitions about life to live in a more low-cost way. So for the next step, I'm gonna work with their teacher more to redo their whole schedule of the week. And you can see this is the old schedule of the week. It has many classes, has no teacher to teach. This is the plan we made for the next week until the end of this semester. We're gonna fill up all of the blank time with science and Chinese and some really little time of English, and also a lot of time about just being happy, just release themselves. So for all those like a release time, we're gonna give them performance art and talking about the poem, and also just doing sports and their lives. Because for those kids, any kind of academic knowledge doesn't make any sense for them at all. And the first thing we want them to do is just build confidence and start to talking to us or to each other to express their feelings. So that's why we think those being happy hours is so important. And for the next semester, we probably gonna build up a new school just for those 10 kids, full-time school nearby where they are. Because some of the parents already saying whatever you do, we want to follow you guys. And whatever you do, of course, is better than their existing schools now. So that's make us very happy. The thing we do is actually a will count and actually do something for them. And this is a tool I named that the Jobpedia I want to make for these kids. Maybe in the end it will be just a map or a handbook, but I want to give them a picture that what they can do after they graduate from middle school, and what kind of school they can get into, and what kind of test they need to take. So it's just a picture to show them what the possibilities are, and then discuss all of the possibilities on a more a visual ways. So they will be have a better understanding about their own future. And I hope this kind of tool will help more kids rather than those 10 kids. But I will start working with them to build up this tool and trying to let more kids to use that later. And that's all for today. If you have any questions, just drop in the WeChat group or on the Slack. Yeah, I will be here for another half an hour. Thank you guys.